Hi guys, there's something I wanted to briefly talk about, and that's the idea of perspective. We probably all know what perspective is, and we think we know what perspective is. Perspective is just the way you see the world, the way you perceive something, but your perception of something may not be quite exactly what you think it is, or maybe not true. So that's something that I've been seeing a lot lately. I have seen quite a bit on the internet attacks directed at people, verbal attacks. I'm sure there have been physical attacks places too, but a lot of verbal attacks that have been directed towards people, predominantly people who are either Trump supporters or who are simply not anti-Trump. Okay, because there are different levels of support or not support. There's just different variations, and that's the thing. Society tries to tell us a lot of times that things are, it's a spectrum. Says Bill Nye, the not-so-science guy. They try to tell us that there's a spectrum and that there's intersectionality, and they try to force, in general, the idea that there are multiple perspectives that should be respected. And I agree that perspectives should be respected. However, just something I've seen a lot of is people who will make statements, things like assumptions. Like today, or not today, a couple days ago, I had somebody talking to me, and I have no idea what set this guy off. I think he was just having a bad day, but I was communicating with another friend online and was talking about how some of the followers of Trump on Twitter might be fake or bots. And I was asking how do you determine if something's fake if you don't have those analytics tools, or how do you know for sure that somebody's a bot? And what about people who use their Twitters themselves and aren't fake, but might use a program to help them get followers or help follow other people? So I was asking questions about this. I'm relatively new on Twitter. And this guy comes out of nowhere and is like calling me scum and telling me that I'm mentally retarded, which I thought we weren't supposed to make fun of retarded people. Anyway, so he's calling me mentally retarded, and he said the only people who voted for Trump or support Trump or something like that are the worst Americans, the worst people ever. They're so horrible. We're all gonna die. Like, just this dramatic kind of rhetoric where he's projecting assumptions of what he thinks people are like. And we all do this at times, but here's the thing. Some people voted for Trump because they liked Trump. Some people voted for Trump because they felt they agreed with him more than they did with other people. Some people voted for Trump for the clear and simple reason that they thought he was better than Hillary. They held their nose and they voted for Trump because that's the best of two bad options. And some people didn't vote at all or didn't vote for Trump, but now are hoping that we can at least get past the media frenzy and our inherent biases and gut reactions to try and get something done and to do good things for America. And that's the thing that I see a lot of people suggesting, is that it's kind of trying to make it straight up black and white, where you have, you can only say something positive about Trump if you're 100% in support of everything he does. And that's really false on any side of the thing. And the thing that I see people doing most often is not being able to fathom that people could feel exactly like they do about different topics. So there were people when Obama was elected the first time and the second time who felt as dramatic and traumatized and upset as people who feel now because Trump is elected. And, I've seen people online where I've tried to tell them, hey, you think Trump is the worst thing that could ever happen to America, but some people think Hillary would have been the worst thing that could have happened to America, or Bernie, or whoever, or, some third party, nobody we know of. And the rage that I get directed back towards me for pointing out this fact is just kind of silly, because, not everybody agrees with you. And that's kind of my big soapbox lately. I hate it when people act as though the entire world agrees with them. I know, and I can acknowledge that the entire world does not love Trump. The only world that I really care that much about right now is America. And I know not all Americans love Trump, but I know not all Americans hate Trump. And to assume that the only people who voted for him are racists or rapists or whatever. How would you know that? You don't know everybody. You can't definitively say, nobody can definitively say anybody always does this, or nobody does this, or everybody does something. You can't say that because you don't know. You'd have to be omniscient and omnipresent to know those things. So to be able to say everybody who voted for Trump is a racist, it's just dumb. And I know a lot of people respond with emotion to things, and they think if you've got a lot of emotion that your point must be true. And that's not true. People can be emotionally wrong about many things. I mean, you just look at the divorce rate in the United States. It's pretty high, right? Where they were emotionally passionate about one person at some point in time, but now they're not. And then they were emotional when they divorced them. It happens, okay? And the other thing that bothers me along the lines of perspective is how you'll hear people who will say, oh, you hate people who are this, pick something, okay? And I've realized that people who are more to the left often can't fathom that somebody who is on the right and disagrees with them, they can't fathom that somebody could disagree with a lifestyle or a decision or behavior and not hate that person. So for example, you can think that homosexuality is wrong without hating a homosexual, or you can still have gay friends and still think it's wrong. You don't have to necessarily tell them that it's wrong. You don't have to even say anything to them. You can be perfectly kind and still disagree with it. In the same way, before you freak out and yell at me in the comment section, in the same way that you might think adultery is wrong or cheating on your boyfriend or girlfriend is wrong. You don't hate your friend who cheated on their girlfriend, usually unless you were friends with the girlfriend or unless they cheated on you. You don't usually hate those people. We all know plenty of people who have committed adultery or who have divorced or stolen or lied or done any number of things that we might consider wrong. But we don't hate those people. We don't treat them usually any differently than we treat other people, especially if it's something that's in somebody's past or something that doesn't come up. I don't really want to hear about anybody's sex life, whether they're straight or gay or anything else. So, the topic doesn't come up. And so that's kind of one of those things. And then funny thing is people will say, well, don't judge. Jesus said don't judge, so don't judge. And that is really a misdirection there, because there is a difference between condemnation and assessment. As Christians, people who consider themselves Christians are called to assess right and wrong. It's biblical. It's a biblical concept. I'm not going to outline it here. I will in another video if you want. Just let me know in the comment section below. Give me a like, subscribe, all that stuff. And let me know if you want me to talk about what it means to judge or not. So there's assessment and there's condemnation. I can say, hey, you over there, you did this thing that I think is bad, and I disagree with it, and I think it's harmful for these reasons, and you shouldn't do it. I don't even have to say it. I can just think it. You can think these things without saying, hey, that person's going to hell because they cheated on their test. Whatever it happens to be, you don't have to say anything about it, and you don't have to be unkind just to believe something. But the ironic thing that I find is that people, particularly people who are on the left, will say, oh, you shouldn't judge, and you can't, I don't know how you can disagree and not hate somebody, but they do the exact same thing. So they will look at you and say, oh, well, you think that sleeping together before marriage is wrong, so you're judging me. I hate you because you're judging me. And so you being judgmental of somebody who you claim is judgmental. Right? Mind blown? Okay. So anyway, my thought today, just want to leave you with this is, when you're discussing with people online, try to be civil. Imagine if you were sitting face to face with that person or you were talking to them. Also try to imagine what they're going through. One of the guys who freaked out at me on the internet and told me I was a horrible person because I didn't know how Twitter worked or something. He also claimed that I followed Trump's every move, and I don't. But anyway, I don't know how we could claim to know that. But that particular guy, he had a family member pass away recently. So, I'm imagining that he's probably pretty stressed from that. So you never know what people might be going through. You never know what their backgrounds are. So I think the best thing that we need to do is just try to see things from other people's perspective. Realize, yes, there are some people who are very concerned about Trump winning. There are people who are very legitimately upset. But also people who are thinking Trump people are the worst people in the world, even people who aren't Trump people who just want to give him a chance. You know, realize that there are people out there who don't think he's the worst thing ever and who aren't the worst thing ever. They're just normal middle class or, you know, working class, whatever. Just, I don't even know what other levels there might be. You know, just normal, moderate to low, or even more income people just like you, trying to get through a day, trying to, you know, get their kids through college or whatever. So really try to put yourself in their shoes and just realize that your perspective may not always be 100% accurate, and be willing to open up and to hear what other people might have to say. So that's it for me today. I think you can feel free to ask me questions or comment or follow me on Twitter. I will put some Twitterage up, some information up on the description box, but that's it, and have a nice day.